silent revolution is sweeping through the modern dating landscape. There are no picket signs, no shouted slogans, and no violent upheavals. Instead, there is only the sound of chairs sliding back from the table and footsteps walking away. Men are disengaging. They aren't arguing, fighting, or bargaining anymore. They are simply refusing to play a game where the house always wins. And the reaction from a specific subset of women has been explosive, a mixture of genuine shock and indignant rage. They are witnessing a glitch in the matrix, men saying no to behaviors that have been normalized and even celebrated for years. The era of financing entitled attitudes is collapsing. The days of tolerating disrespect, disguised as testing, are numbered. The pretense that manipulation is somehow cute or endearing is over. Let's analyze exactly what happens when men stop acting as willing participants in these theatrics, and why it provokes such visceral hatred from those who benefit from the status quo. The social pushback against asymmetrical dating standards has reached a critical tipping point. Picture the scene. A man sits across from a date. She has been glued to her phone screen for 45 minutes, engaging more with her digital audience than the human being in front of her. She orders the most expensive items on the menu, surf and turf, top-shelf cocktails, without a glance at the price. Then, the check arrives. When he suggests splitting the bill, her offense is theatrical. 5 years ago, that same man would have paid in silence, internalized the disrespect, and gone home feeling diminished. Today, he pays strictly for what he consumed and leaves. Meanwhile, she takes to social media to proclaim that chivalry is dead, conveniently omitting her own lack of grace and engagement. She controls the narrative, but she can no longer control his wallet. I saw a video recently that perfectly encapsulates this shift. A woman arrives at a first date, not alone, but with an entourage of 3 friends. They treat the occasion like a raid on a treasury: bottles of wine, appetizers, entrees, desserts. The final bill hits $500. She slides it toward the man with a smirk, a silent challenge, expecting him to fold under social pressure. Instead, he looks at the total, places $40 on the table for his own meal, and walks out the door. The meltdown was immediate and chaotic. The internet comments screamed that a real man would have paid. No, a real man acts with integrity. A smart man recognizes a scam and refuses to be the mark. These power plays, often disguised as innocent quirks, are pervasive. Consider the fry tax. She reaches across the table to take food from your plate without asking. It seems trivial. It's just a French fry, right? Wrong. It isn't about the food. It is a probe. It is a subconscious test to see if you will allow her to violate your boundaries and take from you without permission, or take punctuality. She shows up 45 minutes late. This isn't poor time management. It is a dominance display. She is establishing that her time is currency, and yours is disposable. She starts arguments over nothing, creating chaos out of thin air. This isn't conflict resolution. It's a stress test to see if you will submit just to keep the peace. Some people genuinely believe this toxicity signals interest, the old playground logic that if she's mean to you, she likes you. Are we still in the 3rd grade? In the adult world, interest is demonstrated through respect, consideration, and genuine engagement. Yet, an entire generation has been conditioned to believe that creating anxiety creates attraction. Consequently, they are stunned when men with self-respect simply vanish. Then there is the paradox of public decorum. We see the Schrödinger's exhibitionist, someone who dresses for maximum visual impact, wearing what is essentially lingerie to a family restaurant, yet becomes outraged when people actually look. You cannot commodify your appearance for attention and then claim victimhood when that attention is received. You cannot turn yourself into a billboard and then act violated when people read the sign. That is a rejection of reality itself. I counsel men who have dealt with partners, dragging them into this theater of humiliation, wearing revealing outfits to work events, family gatherings, or children's school functions. When the man expresses discomfort, the immediate accusation is controlling. But let's be clear, wearing a thong bikini to a nephew's baptism is not an exercise in personal freedom. It is a calculated move to manufacture drama, invite the gaze of others, and aggressively test your tolerance for disrespect. The expectation of loyalty without reciprocity is the cancer eating away at modern dating. She demands unilateral disarmament. You must delete your dating apps, scour your phone, and cut ties with female friends. Yet, she keeps her own digital backdoors wide open, just in case. She insists on your total commitment while maintaining a roster of male orbiters for validation. This is not a partnership. It is a hostage situation where only one person has a weapon. A client of mine recently discovered that the woman he had been building a life with for 2 years had never actually deleted her dating profiles. Her defense was a masterclass in gaslighting. We never officially signed a contract saying we were exclusive. They shared a home, met each other's parents, and planned their future, but because there was no notarized legal document, she felt entitled to keep shopping for an upgrade. When he walked away, she was genuinely baffled, claiming she chose him every day. No, you kept him as a safety net while actively auditing the market. This exploitation of attraction has evolved into a bizarre form of content creation. We are seeing a rise in women approaching married men in gyms, touching them, flirting aggressively, and invading their personal space, all while a hidden camera rolls for TikTok. The caption usually reads, "Look how uncomfortable I made this guy." Let's call this what it is: predation disguised as comedy. You aren't being funny, you are being a harasser. If a group of men did this to a married woman, cornering her, touching her, and filming her distress for likes, there would be lawsuits and immediate social exile. Yet, we allow this behavior to be monetized. The criticism toward adult content creators in the dating marketplace is valid, deserved, and rational. You cannot sell your most intimate moments to thousands of strangers for a monthly subscription fee and then expect a high-value man to view that intimacy as sacred. You cannot commodify your sexuality as a public product and then feign outrage when men view you through a transactional lens. Actions have permanent echoes, especially in the digital age. I know a man who discovered his fiancée had a hidden OnlyFans account just 3 months before their wedding. 5 years of explicit content archived forever on the internet. She couldn't understand why he called off the marriage. "It's just work," she argued. To him, it was thousands of other men having access to what was supposed to be theirs alone. That is a hurdle most men cannot and will not clear. Even worse, the manufacturing of drama for online attention has reached pathological levels. Some individuals literally script relationship problems for engagement. They start fights to film the reaction. They stage fake cheating reveals. They pretend to break up for the view count. Your relationship ceases to be a human connection. It becomes a performance art piece where only one actor knows the lines. A client's ex-partner would initiate conflict like clockwork whenever her follower engagement dipped. She utilized him as a prop in her social media theater. When he finally refused to participate, she didn't lose a boyfriend. She lost her content strategy and had to find a new victim. Finally, men are beginning to call out the weaponization of tears. It is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. Losing an argument? Cry. Don't want to take accountability? Cry. Caught in a lie? Cry. Historically, this worked because men are biologically hardwired to protect women in distress. We would apologize, comfort, and forget the issue just to stop the tears. But the software has been updated. Men are now saying, "Okay, cry, we can wait, but we are still discussing this issue when you are finished." The tears on demand tactic is so common, there are literally tutorials online teaching how to use emotional outbursts to manipulate outcomes. This isn't emotional expression, it is psychological warfare. And the men who recognize it and refuse to yield are often labeled emotionally abusive simply for not falling for the manipulation. The expectation that men serve as financiers for cosmetic upkeep, while the woman claims total independence, is the peak of modern delusion. I need my nails done. Then pay for them. My hair appointment is $300. Then you had better start saving. These lashes are expensive. Then budget better or make more money. You are not a dependent tax write-off. You are an adult. Your beautification routine is your financial responsibility, not a recurring bill for a man you just met. We see women expecting casual partners to bankroll thousands of dollars in lashes, fillers, and gym memberships maintenance meant to attract the gaze of the world. Yet, they recoil at the request to cook a simple meal. I'm not your maid, they scoff, while simultaneously handing you the invoice for their vanity. You want a sponsor to pay for you to look good for other men, while offering nothing of substance in return. This selective independence is exhausting to witness. It is a convenient mask. I am a strong, independent woman, until the check arrives, until the car engine sputters, until the rent is overdue. Then, suddenly, the cry goes out for a real man to handle reality. You are either independent or you are not. You cannot be independent in theory, but dependent in practice. I know a woman who curates an Instagram feed dedicated to female empowerment and self-sufficiency, yet her lifestyle is quietly funded by a rotating cast of exes who pay for her car, her apartment, and her vacations. She is the poster child for autonomy online, while living on a scholarship of male generosity offline. Then there is the delusion of the sugar baby culture, claiming to be wife material. You cannot spend 5 years being flown to Dubai by wealthy strangers, living a life of transactional affection, and then expect a traditional, wholesome marriage on the back end. You cannot maintain a roster of financiers and then wonder why regular men hesitate to commit. You have demonstrated that your time, your affection, and your presence are for sale to the highest bidder. Why would a man look to buy what the rest of the world has been renting? When men point out this incompatibility, the response is often outrage. My past doesn't matter. It does, when your past involves selling companionship. This isn't judgment, it is preference. Most men simply do not wish to build a home with someone who views relationships as a business transaction. The refusal to exhibit traditional partner qualities early on, while demanding provider behavior immediately, creates a math problem that no longer solves. She won't cook because we aren't married yet, but expects 5-star dining. She won't be exclusive because we are just dating, but demands emotional support. She wants the treatment reserved for a wife while offering the behavior of a stranger. Men are finally doing the calculation and realizing it is a scam. Why would I give husband-level benefits for girlfriend-level effort? Why invest in a stock that explicitly refuses to pay dividends? Why act married to someone who is acting single? This confusion extends to the concept of leadership. Many claim they want a man who takes charge, who leads, who plans. Yet, the moment he makes a decision, it's labeled controlling. The moment he sets a boundary, it's abuse. You cannot desire the safety of masculine leadership while rejecting the authority that comes with it. A client's ex-girlfriend begged him to be more dominant, yet she fought every restaurant choice, critiqued every plan, and rebelled against every suggestion. She wanted the aesthetic of a dominant man like a character in a romance novel, without the reality of actually following anyone's lead. It is all performance, no substance. Perhaps most disturbing is the acceleration of public stunts that reveal a complete lack of judgment. Women posting their ex's nudes for revenge, sharing private text threads for content, exposing intimate vulnerabilities for internet sympathy. This isn't empowerment. It is a neon sign warning that this person should never be trusted. If someone is willing to humiliate a past lover for engagement, rest assured, you are next. Men are learning to spot these red flags from miles away. Anyone who mines their past relationships for content will inevitably turn your life into their next episode. The entitlement has reached absurd, almost satirical levels. We see profiles demanding the 666, 6 feet, 6 figures, 6-pack abs from women offering what exactly? A bad attitude, massive debt, 3 children from 3 different men, and an addiction to social media validation. You demand a king while bringing the energy of a drive-thru. The dating market, distorted by a culture of easy money and validation, has ruined genuine connection. It has become a marketplace of scammers trying to extract maximum value for minimum effort. Everyone is trying to survive the transaction, and real connection has gone extinct. We must address the uncomfortable truth that society tries to silence. The past is a prologue. The reality of a promiscuous history affecting future relationships is biological and psychological fact. A person who has spent a decade immersed in chaos does not suddenly wake up one morning as a pillar of stability. Someone who has treated intimacy as a casual handshake for years cannot simply flip a switch and view it as sacred. If you were never faithful when it was easy, you will not be loyal when it gets hard. Past behavior is the only reliable predictor of future action. Yet, pointing this out is labeled shaming or insecurity. No, it is pattern recognition. It is self-preservation. The double standards regarding consent have become staggering. A woman grabs a man's bicep or runs her hands through his hair without asking, and it's called playful. If a man did the exact same thing to a woman he just met, it's harassment. I have watched women at bars grab men in ways that would result in immediate arrest if the genders were reversed. But when men recoil, they are mocked as uptight. The same people preaching the loudest about consent often view it as a one-way street. This lack of self-awareness feeds the "all my exes were narcissists" narrative. Really, every single one. If you smell smoke everywhere you go, you might want to check your own shoes. Either you are exclusively attracted to toxic people, you create toxicity in decent people, or you label anyone who refuses to submit to your will a narcissist. In any scenario, the common denominator is you. But accountability is the enemy of the modern ego. It is always external forces, never internal choices. Always the victim, never the participant. This victimhood has birthed a testing culture that has spiraled into paranoia. Some women treat dates not as social interactions, but as covert operations. I know of women who maintain spreadsheets of tests. Did he open the door? Did he walk on the street side? Did he pay without flinching? This isn't dating. It is an exam where the student doesn't know he's being graded. It feels mechanical because it is mechanical. A man I know went on a date where a friend was stationed at the bar to spy on his body language, while another friend called with a fake emergency to test his empathy. This is psychological experimentation on unwilling subjects. The result? The great walk away. Men are not leaving because they are broken or unable to compete. They are leaving because they have recognized the game is rigged. They are not intimidated by strong women. They are exhausted by difficult ones. They aren't afraid of commitment. They are terrified of committing to someone who views them as a resource rather than a partner. Men are realizing that the peace of solitude is infinitely more valuable than the chaos of manipulation. They are choosing silence over drama and freedom over servitude. The women who are shocked by this withdrawal are revealing how much they relied on male compliance. They banked on men tolerating disrespect forever, but that credit line has been maxed out. To the men reading this, you do not have to play. You do not have to accept the fry tax, the disrespect, the testing, or the financial exploitation. You can simply stand up and walk out the door. The most powerful move in a rigged game is to leave the table. And to the women who genuinely want connection, the message is stark. The games must end. The manipulation must stop. The era of entitlement is closing. Men are comparing notes, sharing experiences, and waking up. The playbook has been leaked. Those who adapt, who bring real value, peace, and loyalty, will find men ready to build empires with them. Those who refuse will find themselves screaming into the void, wondering where all the real men went, unaware that they drove them away. I want to hear from you. What was the moment you decided to stop playing? What behavior made you finally walk away? Drop your story in the comments below. Let's expose these patterns so others can see them coming, because your peace is worth more than their approval.